Blessed are the poor in spirit. Both of those sound weird. You get good rewards for that. The kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. It's actually a very common verse from antiquity. And Jesus actually says this same thing. It's actually worded differently. He's teaching the same lesson in cryptic verbiage in a number of places, all over the place, that being poor in spirit is something that is good. I'm going to say that if you're a Christian, you probably will never be able to interpret this verse. Never, ever, ever, because it requires definition of what a spirit is that doesn't coincide what you believe spirit to be. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. Okay, let's go look at this. All right, the first place we find it, it's not in the book of Mark, but it's in the book of Luke, and it starts off right at it's the very first teaching, a Sermon on the Plain. Sermon on the Plain. He's going to have a Sermon on the Mount in Matthew, but here's what it says. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, "Blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of God." So if you don't interpret that right there sounds like if you are poor, you are blessed. Yours is the kingdom of God. And if you're a Christian or somehow a believer in this, you'd have to be a Christian. What this means is that if you're poor, you will go to heaven and live forever. Yeah, that doesn't sound good, does it? Live poor. That's where evangelicals get their private jets from right there. All the people living poor so that they can go to heaven after they die and live forever. All right, let's move to Matthew, and we have it right here at the very first verse again. It is, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." All right, we've got a little different sound. Now it's not just blessed are poor, for theirs is the kingdom of God. We've got poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So kingdom of God and kingdom of heaven are going to be the same location. That's just two ways of saying whatever that heaven is right there. That's going to be an analog for something. Those are the same. But the addition of spirit gives us additional information here in Matthew that Luke did not provide. It's not physical poor, it's a spiritual poor. Okay, now we're going to get somewhere. Now, I do want to say that it's fine for it not to say spirit right there. What's going to emerge here is that this is a mental process. It's an inner healing process. All of the pieces and parts are going to become mentally interactive. We're going to see this verse right here become something very specific. It's an instruction for us. And we're going to find that it's going to parallel exactly the very first verse of Buddha in the Dhammapada, and right the very first in the Tao Te Ching. Both of these are about 500 years older. China, Tibet, and Jesus came along later. Jesus is teaching the same thing as these guys, but using different verbiage, that the verbiage itself has a different impact. All right, the first thing I want to do, and this might seem kind of weird, I want to do a brain test. I'm really struggling with teaching this or finding anybody that can comprehend it. I find it, and I'm taught myself to read it, but I can't find other people that have an interest in it. You have to kind of teach yourself to read it. But I think that there are, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a comparison between those two Jesus verses and then the ones that I mentioned before, the one from the Buddha and the one from Lao Tzu, one after the other. I'm going to read them, and if they sound radically different to you, well, the two Jesus ones will sound the same, but if the other two don't sound anything like the Jesus verses, you're probably never going to understand it. If you listen to them all and go, wow, you know what, there's something vaguely familiar about all of those right there, you're seeing a deeper pattern. You're seeing something conceptual that is what you're supposed to go after. All right, let's look at them and see what we have here. I just consolidated them all together, and what we have, all the ones in yellow, that right there is just the source of them. I got Matthew 5:3, Luke 6:1, Buddha's Dhammapada, and the Tao Te Ching down here from Lao Tzu. And in red is what each one of them said. I just followed the red letter stuff from the Bible. Okay, I'm going to read straight through them without announcing them. Just listen to the words. "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed be the poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. If a man speaks or acts with pure thought, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. Free from desire, you realize the mystery." Those can be a stretch, huh? Let's try this one. "Blessed be the poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. Free from desire, you realize the mystery." Those two sound pretty similar, don't they? Free from desire, poor in spirit, kingdom of heaven. Realize the mystery. Blessed the poor. Pure thought. Poor, pure thought. We're starting to see something in there. Poor means thought, mental thought. Happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. Kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God. Shadow that never leaves. Happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. You realize the mystery. All of those are containing the same teaching. Let's get there. Since this video is primarily to understand Jesus' teachings, I'll kind of focus there then. And I'm just going to jump and say that there's something that you have to do to interpret it. And if you're not willing to do this, then you're not going to get there. And if you're going to say that Jesus has never existed and it's all bullshit and there's nothing out there at all, you're not going to get it either. There's something in here. There's a teaching that is a common teaching. And when you find it and you exercise it like Jesus, you will cease to be a divider. We see a universality of something different that is, when you're not there, you're at a tribal level of understanding the material. There's a deep layer of understanding where we suddenly take this material, all the teachings, enter the narrow gate, the mind, and it goes up there. Entering the narrow gate is entering the mind. Buddha says all that we are is a result of what we have thought. That's the mind. First thing Lao Tzu says is, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. These are cryptic. What is the Tao? It's the way. It's this teaching. It's this understanding. The way that can be told is not the eternal one. Oh, well, then what do we do then? It's the right one. What? You can tell it. It's just not eternal when you tell it. It's just academic. Eternal means it's experiential. The Tao that is taken is the eternal Tao. It's a mental path. You have to work it through. It's a personal mental path. We turn inward with it. We're going to treat Jesus' material the exact same way. No deviation. See what happens. Understanding that they're simply changing the carrier verbiage. So I'll pull up my verses again and take a look here. I'm going to start with the first one. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, you have to understand it as a mental place, a place of purity, a place of like, the kingdom of heaven is similar to the Garden of Eden. It's the same feel. The difference is the Garden of Eden was us when we were ignorant. Kingdom of heaven is trying to find that happiness after you've grown up and have lived life. We now need to become poor in spirit. What's that? That's our bundle of memories that we're living through. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. When we become our mass of memories that we're living through, we live frazzled. We live angry. We live hurt. Look at what's happening that calls itself Christianity in the world today. Are they poor in spirit? They don't even know what this means. If spirit is something that is like some sort of ethereal energy that's all of our awareness and memories and all of that kind of stuff that floats around, it's not going to work. You can't get there. I don't see how that would go on, and you can't interpret it that way. How do you make that poor? How do you take a spirit like that and make it poor? If I want to get to the kingdom of heaven, is my spirit poor? What does that mean? All right, so the spirit is not that. I am my memories. I am an accumulation of my life experiences, and I live through those and the emotional state of them. And sometimes it pisses me off, and sometimes it makes me happy, but I get angry, and as time goes on, it gets worse and worse because I'm not poor in spirit, and I'm not living in the kingdom of heaven. I don't have inner peace. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who stop living through their bundle of memories, for theirs is inner peace. Jesus says this elsewhere in ways like forgiving the ought against your brother. Poor in spirit means the ought against your brother is gone, or the mote in your eye is gone. Spirit, eye, perception. What do you live through? Poor in spirit. We have to clear out our memories. And basically what this means is letting go of the hurt and the things, our experiences that are causing us to continue to hurt and live through them over and over again. And if we leave someplace and don't resolve them, we bring them with us. And it starts over because it's us. We have to become poor in spirit to become happy. Does that make sense? Then we get down here to Luke. Blessed be the poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. It's the exact same thing. You just have to know that it's built on a template that no matter what, whether they tell you spirit, mind, no matter what, you always treat it like it's a mental verse. It doesn't have to tell you that. You know it's a mental thing. Once you learn what it is, you go, okay, yep, that's the way you treat it all the time. Now, what do we have from the Buddha? If a man speaks or acts with pure thought, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. Isn't that one just about spot on at this point? Pure thought, though, is not conscious at the moment thought. These are analogous. A man, we should probably change this to a guru or a sage or something like that. This is any person. If a person, male or female, if a person speaks a consciousness, speaks or acts with pure thought, what we have to do is understand that that's the bundle of memories is what we're living through. In fact, what does Buddha say, his parallel verse to this? All right, Buddha actually has this. It's in the dual verses. It's this set right here. Let me go ahead and just highlight them so they're easy to pick out right there. These are the ones that we're looking at. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. This is his very first teaching in the Dhammapada. He's sitting down and saying right in the beginning, you want to know what happened? We're sitting down and saying, Buddha, Guru, I heard my life sucks. What the hell has happened? We sit down and he tells us, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It's founded on our thoughts. It's made up of our thoughts. Okay, we become a bundle of our experiences and memories. If a man speaks or acts with evil thought, pain follows him as the wheel follows the foot of the ox that draws the carriage. We have to unpack this. We've got cyclical pain in here and something negative. There's evil thought right there does not mean thinking evil consciously. What that means, and we have to, in order to interact with this, we have to understand that these are analogous terms. An evil thought might mean that you got molested one time, and now as a result, I hate that son of a bitch. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. That's an evil thought. And that sucks because, you know what, that hurts. But here's the deal. You live through the memory of what is unresolved. You just have to look at it and go, you know what? If I don't resolve that and figure out a way to let it go, I'm going to drag it with me. And guess what happens? Pain follows as the wheel cycle follows the foot of the ox. That's me. I'm the ox that draws the carriage. I'm going through life, and pain follows me because something has happened that I have unresolved in my mind. Then it goes on to his second one. All that we are is a result of what we have thought. It's founded on our thoughts. It's made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with pure thought, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. If a man speaks or acts with pure thought, poor in spirit, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. The kingdom of heaven. Does that make sense? To continue on with more detail with Lao Tzu, because that's a little tough. Naming is the origin of 10,000 things. That's the bundle of memories. That's us. Naming, we are naming. We are having life experiences. Naming is the origin of 10,000 things. That's our bundle of memories. Caught in desire, you see only their manifestations. That is like Buddha's wheel. If you have had it caught in desire, caught in what you're hanging on to, mental thought. We've already established the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. We know we're in a mental process here. So we know these are analogous again. Caught in desire does not mean I'm sitting here wanting to have ice cream or something like that. That means at a deep level, I've got something that might even be derogatory to me that I don't even want to face. How the heck can I look at that and interpret this verse because I don't desire that? It's an analog. Caught in what you are not letting go of. If you don't like it, why are you holding it? You see only the manifestations. The wheel follows. He's got a different, here's some other ones that are from him. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it's the center hole that makes the wagon move. This is us. We join spokes together in a wheel. We live our life and become a wheel. But whatever it is in the side is what makes it move. This is what determines the quality of the travel for that wheel of our life. We shape clay into a pot. We are the clay pot. It's the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. What is inside of us? We hammer wood for a house, but it's the inner space that makes it livable. Can you live in your head? You have to. How's it feel? Got more than yourself in there? Here, Jesus material, same thing. You have to shift the verbiage. It's all analogous. Neither do men put wine into old bottles, else the old bottles break and the wine run out, and the bottles perish. We are the bottles. Wine is life experiences. You don't put new life experience into your old self, or else that gets ruined, and the wine runs out. The new life runs out and the bottles perish. It gets worse. But they put new wine into new bottles and both are preserved. Have you lived life long enough to know when you go from place to place to place, you finally leave somewhere because it's like, oh my God, it's good to leave that behind. I'm starting afresh. And after maybe a year or so, you find yourself going, how did things end up this way again? And you might leave again and later on experience the same thing. At some point you might say, hey, I'm an old wine bottle and I'm trying to put new wine into it and it's not working. I have to create myself a new life. I have to heal. This right here is telling me, when you think about it, to get that mote out of your eye, to become poor in spirit. That is how you become a new bottle. A new bottle is, ready for fresh. All right, you have to treat all of the material that way. When you get into a vineyard, what is a vineyard? If you're on a Greek myth or something and you need to go get your land back, that represents up here, your kingdom or whatever. I don't have control of my head. I need to get it back. So the myth is written in that way. When you get into Jesus stuff, it's the same thing. I need to go get my vineyard or something like that. It's a struggle to get these things back. The stories are following a very deep pattern motif. That again, you have to really dig into it in your own curiosity and what your brain wires synapses. I mean, it's almost like learning a language. At some point, you finally read it. This was not automatic. It took a long time of work to realize what they were doing, and then you can begin to create your own. Even an anchored ship cannot sail. Whatever I'm hanging on to, I'm stuck cycling around. The dog tied in the yard cannot escape. Same thing. You're as long as you know you are represented in that all of it is going to play out in the mind, and that these are analogous terms that represent something. I am that. I'm the ship anchored. I'm the dog tied. I'm the tree that something's emerging from me that I keep chopping down, but it continues to grow back until I pull it out by the root. I've got to resolve the issues at the deepest level. When you start reading them that way, you go, oh gosh, these are all the same thing. They're all about purging up here and not living through that, but to live through the higher awareness, to sit in quiet and peace and solitude with that higher awareness, knowing it's there because it resides outside. We can either live consciously experiencing the emotions of the memories, but that's not who we are. That's the bundle of memories that we need to clear up. What we need to do is live from the higher awareness. It's not beholding to the emotional experience of those memories. It can look at things very matter-of-factly and go, yeah, that was your life. Are you going to leave it behind? This is a part of you that's a higher part of you. We have to get there and be with that. Quietly, be still and know that I am God. That's what that is right there. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And the poor in spirit, that's it. It's a simple, common teaching. Get rid of the bundle of memories. Don't live through them. The agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz. See you in the next video.